Then yeah, if you want to go through a pitch, I think that would be awesome. A good way for us to kind of segue forward, and I'm sure I'll have loads of questions as well.
Sure. Yeah. No, I appreciate you finding me on the Paris Blockchain Week app, and I know it was really hectic. But I did look through at your link, and I think your message said something like, we're just about ready to write some checks and make some selections. But then I saw that the application period ended in February. So I guess I was a little bit, I thought maybe I'd missed something somewhere, or.
We are pretty much like the final close. So yes, we ran applications officially until February 1st. We spent most of February and most of March screening and interviewing and making offers. And right now we're pretty much at the close. But that's not to say there isn't an opportunity for like one last company to swoop in. And so that's at Paris Blockchain Week, that was kind of my North Star. See if there's any founders that, we want to get into the program at this late stage, because sometimes, particularly in this early stage space, momentum is a big thing. And even though our applications have been open since, I think, November, some of the best companies we kind of find later in the process. So yeah, there is basically one last spot that I would say there's a few startups vying for, and we're on the verge of about to close. So that's kind of the status in terms of the accelerator. We do start on Monday though, so it is, as a certain football manager used to say, squeaky bum bum time.
Haven't heard that one before. That's I like it though. I like it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where we are. But sorry, yeah. Any other questions there, maybe before we kick in?
Well, actually, I think too, you had just been saying something about this accelerator is not your typical Web3 accelerator, or I think you were going to elaborate on that a little bit, maybe. Or
no, I wouldn't say typical. It's not that, but I think basically it's a TechStars accelerator. So there's 50 to 60 accelerators at TechStars, ranging from, the city programs that would be like the original Boulder accelerator, or New York, or LA, or Berlin, or London, plus the verticals that we would run in. So energy, music, farm to fork, and many of those, including those three that I just mentioned, would have a corporate partner who would be a very likely B2B channel or customer for many of the startups that make those programs. And then there's other verticals that don't have a partner, and Web3 is pretty much one of those. But we run a hybrid program in that it's mostly remote first, because we're truly global and we want to attract global deal flow, while we do get together 3 times for a week each time, because it's important. And in this game, I think, the FaceTime is important. The cohort getting to build those relationships is important, and it's just some in-person programming at the start, at the end, and definitely in the middle, because it's kind of too long a time between the start and the end, is could really make the difference between a good program and a great program. So that's what we're doing. And so far, the founders that have made it into the program are coming from as far east as Taiwan, Singapore, and as far west as, West Coast US, and everywhere in between. And I think safe to say that the 10 to 11 companies that have made it onto the program so far are working across Web3. Some are building, pure decentralized protocols or networks. Some are not, but they're enabling a more decentralized world and a more decentralized internet and way of doing things. So they could be working on infrastructure or tooling, for example, but they don't have an ambition to launch let's say, their own decentralized economy that requires a token. But we still do have some of those projects. So it's a broad mix, and really our remit is investing in and supporting, the best founders who want to apply and want to get into a TechStars program, who are either building or enabling a more decentralized internet. So it's quite simple, quite high level. But yeah, we're looking for the best founders working on interesting things. And I believe we've got a good bit of that. So yeah, we're really looking forward to getting started.
Nice overview.
So yeah, I think personal standpoint, just kind of come from always kind of trying to build businesses basically, and have done so or have helped people do so, within e-commerce, hardware, consulting office for a while, but came across TechStars 4.5 years ago. In London, we had a fintech program with Barclays, and I worked on that as a kind of, I would say, like a biz dev sales growth support for those 10 fintechs. I'm just trying to help them with everything to do from, the market research they might need to carry out, through to customer personas, through to go to market, product market fit, and, modeling out revenue and how that feeds into overall growth. So there was an opportunity to come on board at TechStars full time, and invest in 10 energy startups through the energy program. And I did that for a couple of years. And then Web3 kind of popped its head. The later stage is 21 at TechStars. And we had an accelerator last year. We had two, actually. One was quite a, let's say, agnostic play. But we did partner with a crypto fund that wanted to co-invest in tokens only. So basically, there was a bit of a constraint in that the companies or the projects we took on in that cohort, they were required to have a native token as part of their proposition. So we all know how that kind of world has gone over the last 12 months, but it made it quite challenging when the program finished and things were way down. And that was a time when the partner was going to kind of help with TGE and launching tokens and stuff. So there's been a lot of shuffle and change of strategies towards equity and towards different strategies in general for most of those companies. But the show goes on for TechStars, and we have a different accelerator that doesn't actually have a partner, which is the Web3 accelerator. So there's 5 Web3 programs at TechStars. 4 are partnering with protocols: Filecoin, Algorand, Polygon, and Stellar. And then our one is largely agnostic, and we don't have any constraints, as I was saying. So we don't have to be building on a particular protocol, for example. So yeah, that's really it. TechStars Accelerator. I think you apply to TechStars to achieve any one of, get mentorship, be vulnerable and get mentorship. Maybe exercise and figure out the best business model for you. Maybe figure out, if you're a bit earlier, maybe we still take in companies that are still searching for product market fit or trying to understand their go-to-market, or those later ones that are simply trying to achieve scale, or even within a decentralized way of doing things, just trying to develop that network. And it is a mentor-based accelerator in that we highly encourage our founders to build deep relationships with the pool of mentors that we have, particularly in the first month. We have a bit of a program specifically for that. Then, all the while throughout the 3 months, the founders would get quite close with us as the accelerator investment team. That's Pete and myself. Pete's the MD. And it's just about understanding, you know, what are the most critical things they could be working on? How can we help them? And utilizing the resources and the network at hand to basically get shit done in a short space of time. And, you know, the middle part of the program is largely just focused around getting stuff done. And then while it is a big focus towards the end, but we do start working from the start towards, you know, resourcing their business for beyond the program, with a large focus on fundraising, and helping them through that process. You know, how to kind of initiate a fundraise, how to handle investor conversations, how to close rounds, how to go about building an investor pipeline and a data room and all those materials that you need, and just, you know, getting to the position where you can basically execute on a successful fundraise. So, but that's the 3 months. And, you know, TechStars, it is an investment. So if you've seen slide number 11, I think it is on that fact sheet that I've shared, you know, it is an investment. And the 3-month accelerator is very much an onboarding into the network. And yeah, a network that is over 10,000 founders, nearly 10,000 mentors, you know, lots of partners, lots of investors in there as well. So it is a pretty special place. And yeah, the accelerators they are fantastic. When you get 12 companies in a room together that don't really apply to the program to be one of 12 companies, they apply for the help, which is reasonable, but they also get a support group of 11 other startups that are kind of doing the same thing. So it is pretty special when you get going. So yeah, that's where we are, and we're starting on Monday. So yeah, any questions on that, or can I pass the mic to you?
Slide 11, I probably clicked through it. When you say investment, I did see something like TechStars takes, I can't remember the percentage, but, or are you saying there's an upfront fee?
Yes. So the fee to get into TechStars is 6% common stock equity. And basically, and sorry, there's a token distribution as well. So if there's a token, if you plan to launch a token at any point, TechStars would receive 6% of the founders pool of token reserve. So if a network protocol has a token, founders pool could typically be 10, 15, 20, 25%. Let's say that was 20%. TechStars would get 6% of the 20. So that's like 1.2% of the overall. Every company receives $20,000 coming into the accelerator. I really see that as a stipend to use during the program for expenses. It's not 6% for 20K, because that would value your business around $300,000, and that's just not what this is. The value is not, you know, in the capital here. And TechStars would go on to the cap table when there is a qualified financing round of over 250K or more, and would retroactively dilute from 6% more likely towards 5 or 4%. You do also have the option to use a convertible loan note, or to take a convertible loan note of 100K. So we just provide that capital if founders need it. And there's a valuation cap of 3 million on that. But if you've raised over 250K or more prior, that cap can be increased to 5 million. But even still, we don't encourage all of our founders to take it, because some of them are valued above that. So that would just be silly. But it's extra capital. They're the terms set by TechStars. They're basically the same terms for every TechStars company across all of the accelerators, which is roughly 500 to 600 companies per year. So yeah, those terms really haven't changed since TechStars has been born in what, 2007, I think. So yeah.
Nice. I appreciate you getting granular on that.
Cool. No worries. How does that sound? Is that a surprise, or do you know, or?
No, I remember that. Not after you were saying it, I remembered that yeah, that 6% founders, because that made sense to me. I didn't think that it was 6% of the. Yeah, cool.
Awesome. Okay, cool. I would love to know more about FrontierDAO if you're interested in
Frontier Registry,
or I suppose generally. So happy to, you know, play to your tune here, however you would like to go forward.
Yeah, sure. You emphasized a little. I'd love to give you the broad overview of FrontierDAO. And I have the slides from our deck, which is also on the website queued up. But I was wondering, since you did mention several times build a build for decentralized, and you know, we just finished an alpha build of FrontierRegistry, which is science on the blockchain. And so there's a bit of competition now, but we are the first out of the gate. And you know, I built this with a micro grant from Polygon, and then a little bit of support from Filecoin, although from Filecoin, that grant was a little bit more substantive, but it was actually more for outreach, more about the DAO, and then also a grant from Gitcoin. I have a 2-minute explainer video. Can I start with that? And that might kind of anchor us into what FrontierRegistry is. It's science on the blockchain.
Cool. Yeah, go for it. Absolutely.
Okay, great.
is an on-chain publishing platform. It gives researchers, scientists, engineers, and academics the tools they need to self-publish their work immutably on the blockchain. Let me explain. Consider this. Nikola Tesla, best known for his inventions and contributions to the advancement of electricity, obtained around 300 patents worldwide for his discoveries. However, it was Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla's former employer, who went on to build an empire based on Tesla's core research. Tesla himself died in poverty in a New York hotel room. What if proof of his work had been recorded and stored in a transparent, fully accessible way that simultaneously authenticated his IP ownership? These are issues still relevant today, and with even greater challenges. Scientific research is often published behind a paywall. The authors are charged upfront fees to publish their work. They have no revenue share in their published work, and they must give up copyright upon publication. The solution is simple and made available with FrontierRegistry, an open source, on-chain publishing platform. We utilize the latest in blockchain technology to ensure there is an immutable, transparent date timestamp of all published work. We ensure that scientists, researchers, engineers, anyone who chooses to publish their intellectual property has the option to charge for their work, with earned revenue going directly back to the intellectual property owner, not the middleman, and without the need to ever give up copyright to their research or IP. FrontierRegistry is unlocking the power for the best innovators to publish and collaborate with safety and confidence, knowing their IP rights are secure. To see how you can become a beta tester, visit frontierregistry.card.co.
Awesome. Love it.
Hey, thanks. Thank you.
It's somebody who studied chemistry and biotech and did some stints in research labs, and saw how weirdly set up our research industry is. I totally vibe with this, and yeah, really see the need. So yeah, tell me more.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to. Well, and stop me if I end up throwing too much all at once. But so basically, what this is a coalescence of the very strong open science movement, that's been around for a number of years now, and then this very nascent DeSci movement that's been sort of engendered by the Ethereum Foundation, and which has really picked up steam in the last year. So I would say that our the motive of FrontierDAO is definitely science first. We come from the open science position, so we're basically trying to figure out the best ways to use blockchain technology to facilitate the tooling of open science. Right? Open science is inclusivity, accessibility, transparency, and reproducibility, which are very lofty goals. And if you want to do a quick look on some of the a toolkit, UNESCO just published their toolkit on open science, so it gives a nice succinct overview. But our whole thing is that, look, if you actually don't give people the tools, people who are working in labs, working in academic institutions, research institutions, tech transfer, government agencies, to be able to actually practice, I mean, just in a real tangible way, these lofty ethos of open science, you're just going to have a lot of great goals, but no way to actually facilitate them. Now, the other position is, I would say, of DeSci, which I'm very active in decentralized science as well, but is more coming from the decentralized finance angle. Like, how can we tokenize science in order to facilitate more, different methods of funding and perhaps different ways of coordination and collaboration? And there are some very interesting projects coming out of that, whole movement as well. But I would differentiate us in the sense that even though we're very much a part of DeSci, the DeSci movement, and we did build this on Polygon, as I mentioned at the beginning, so that's part of the Ethereum ecosystem. But we are pitch forward with open science first. So we have not actually architected a token yet into FrontierRegistry. However, what our model is to use it initially, like slow, introduce it as an option for users who are, we're assuming that they are not Web3 cognizant, right? That they don't know a blockchain from a bicycle, right? That's who we want. Yeah. That's really our target. That's who we want. Because we want researchers and academics first, and just to be able to provide them the best writing utensil that they can, that will make their jobs easier, right? So we are looking at putting in like a reputation-based token, so that, say, the more somebody publishes using FrontierRegistry, the more points they'll earn. It more like a reward system. Yeah. But we're not looking at this point, we're not looking at implementing necessarily any tokenomics beyond, frequent flyer mile point systems, type of a system. I'm going to add in here too, is that my company, IoT Logistics, is also a subcontractor to a NASA award. And NASA has come full force. I mean, DEIA, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, has always been part of the mandates of the agency, right? But these last couple of years, it's come front and center. So they have done a huge push in minority and underserved institution funding. And so in 2022, the University of Hawaii, Manoa was one of, I believe, 15, including also MIT, but one of 15 institutions that received a substantial award. And so the principal investigator that I'm working with there, who stood up that award, or submitted for that award and received it, is establishing the Hawaii Aspiring Aerospace Engineers Academy. So my company, IoT Logistics, is a subcontractor on that. So through that, I am tasked with actually putting forth and doing educational seminars and outreach, sharing what some of this open science is all about and how to incorporate blockchain in practicing open science. And so FrontierRegistry will be one of those tools that we are using. So, so in terms of finding product market fit, I've been, since our alpha release in January, like I mentioned, we built it on Polygon and we're using React.js. So, we've been outreaching to a lot of the academic institutions, research institutions, but I also have these relationships in place in order to onboard some of the younger minds who are more, who are maybe a little bit more ready to kind of go blockchain. Sure, let me try this. Let me see what this is all about. So there's a little bit. There's a little bit of a NASA connection, and there may be more, but it's too soon for me to talk more about that, about what's in development. But I can tell you what is already in play, which is the Hawaii Aspiring Academy, Hawaii Aspiring Aerospace Engineers Academy, because that's already a done deal. The award's been done, and we've already ramped up, and we've already started on that. So, do you want me to can I walk you through, I don't know how your timing is, but can I walk you through the pitch deck?
Yeah, I've got another 13 minutes. So yeah, please do. That'll be awesome.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I apologize. I know okay, great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
No worries. It's not exactly a Parisian accent. How long have you been in Paris?
I've been in Paris for 13 years. Wow,
cool.
Thank you. Yeah, 13 years come June, so just a little shy of it. But yeah, I'm an American. I actually grew up in Hawaii and California, and I graduated from UH Manoa. So it's kind of nice to have come full circle on this project. So FrontierDAO. Actually, let me stop. Did you have any questions or comments about FrontierRegistry before I launch into the next bit?
I mean, I get the DeSci premise. I also get the DeFi angle. I suppose things that I'm curious about from there is, stage, user acquisition, user retention, or value retention, or value potential in getting people using Frontier. What does that journey look like? And I suppose I had some other little questions around. I suppose, yeah, I'd love to know more about the team. I'd love to know about what keeps you up at night. What do you need help with? And one little question around Arweave. Do you utilize Arweave at all?
Thank you. Yeah, right now we're actually just using a consumer grade pinata, but Arweave and storage both we've been looking at. Arweave is definitely a good solution. The team is, my lead dev is great developer, young Japanese guy, resident of Canada. As soon as you take a look at his GitHub, you just see all kinds of commits, and I mean, he's just constantly working. So, you know, again, we had a micro budget for this alpha build. I worked as the project manager, and then my advisor is the principal investigator on the NASA award. He's my advisor for FrontierRegistry. So yeah, so we were just a lean team to try to get, you know, something to show.
Yeah.
What's keeping me up right now is to keep building through to beta. And some of the things that we're looking at are, you know, Stacks just released Hero. So, you know, I like Polygon a lot, and it's really workable and usable. Of course, now everybody is really excited about ZK EVM. So just as things develop so quickly, there's just all kinds of different things that we can, I think, start implementing. Of course, we're looking at implementing ChatGPT, and at the same time, GPT-0. So that we don't have papers that are only, you know, or that people will know when a paper and to what extent a paper has been written by ChatGPT. GPT-0 is actually it's such a great timing for those Stanford kids to release that. Yeah, so it's just really looking at moving into beta. We just want to keep going. I've got three grant proposals pending, 2 that are government and 1 that's a private foundation. And in terms of user acquisition, hey, you know, it's gonna be a battle, right? I mean, it's gonna be a battle like any new kind of a protocol is, but I do feel like because our approach is it's really more open science, right? That I think is really what differentiates Frontier Registry from some of the other competing projects that have popped up since I published the deck Frontier Registry on OpenSea early last year, over a year ago. So I published it as an IP NFT as a proof of concept. And since then, several other competing projects have popped up, but we still remain differentiated in the fact that we are open science first. We're not talking about, hey, come and buy our token and we'll take you through how to publish science in a decentralized way. Our approach is we want to help you as an IP owner and author collaborate more efficiently and protect your IP. That's what we want to do. We want to help you achieve your best interests. And maybe somewhere down the line, we might incorporate some kind of a token, but certainly at the beginning, it will only be a rewards token. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. So, and FrontierDAO is so join the global movement to make a positive impact on this world and off world. So our focus areas, we're the 4th science DAO to be stood up, right? You had Molecule, which spawned Vita, Lab, and PsychDAO. So those are seen as 4, but they're actually 1 because they're the same people, same team, same funding. Ethereum Foundation gave them $9 million to get started, and then we came along completely independent. I'm coming more from a government technology transfer. My company IoT Logistics is government contracting qualified, so I didn't even know about. We had no idea what the Ethereum Foundation is when we started, and they started I think in June of 2021, and we started in August of 2021. So we're only the 4th ever DeSci DAO to be stood up, and the first to do space exploration, climate, fusion energy, and then catalyzing technology transfer. Those other verticals, we've got some company now. Thankfully, it's great. The ecosystem is growing, but we're actually still the only one to focus on fusion energy. And to that extent, Filecoin gave me a grant last year to really start doing educational outreach, and it was great. You can check our YouTube channel. I was able to do workshops with Eurofusion, Fusion for Energy, TAE Technologies, very well-known private consultants from ITER. So just some of the really top people in fusion energy came to speak for us, and on behalf of on behalf of our community, talking about the promise of fusion energy. Now that is something I am looking at. Tokenizing, and we actually do have a token. It's called Fusion, FUZN. Looking to have a partner help us walk through that, especially now with the SEC regulations, all that kind of stuff. But we do believe that there's a way to make people, to enable people to own a piece of the future, own a piece of this clean, abundant, baseload energy future that we're right on the cusp of. So don't get me started on fusion energy, because I'll just go on and on and on. So yeah, let me get through this really quickly. I'll just kind of plug right through. We're not, our DAO is structured differently. We have guilds, so each project is autonomous, has its own team, its own decision making, its own budget. So we're not a big DAO that gets overburdened by, let's vote on every little thing. We want to stay agile. We want to, as you said, pardon the French, get shit done.
Yep.
So, all right. So I already walked through, I spent a lot of time already on the Frontier Registry. So I'll pop right through that. Polygon DAO, One of our guilds is the Outer Space Virtual Museum. I'm a member of AIAA, which is the biggest aeronautical association in America. It's 30,000 members, everyone from Boeing to, to space, everybody's in there, right? So I've been pitching that to them. There's been some huge community discussion about the Outer Space Virtual Museum. It's up and running. It's on Arium. It's hosted on Arium XYZ, again, for kind of outreach, STEM education. We have quite an extensive OpenSea NFT collection. We're actually the only organization that was ever granted permission by NASA to mint their images as NFTs. It was just a bit of a fluke, because when I asked for that permission, I was granted it, and I have that I have that on audio recording. And then they realized what an NFT was. And then they started putting together a project with Microsoft, which they just launched Minecraft, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, kind of a 3D virtual world. So in the interim, they sort of said, hey, we don't really want you minting our images as NFTs. But that was after we had about 400 of some of the most historical ones. So if and when the US follows UK suit and actually says that NFTs are legal property, as the UK, as England has, the courts in England decided, then we will be sitting on not just the treasury, but a national treasury, because our NFTs are the first to be minted, the only ones now minted. Just a couple, maybe one last word about fusion energy. It's set to disrupt a 4 trillion per year energy industry. You indicated several times that you have an energy background, so you probably are quite knowledgeable. I'm going to assume you're quite knowledgeable about fusion energy and understanding its role in the energy transition. Even if we're 15 years off, we need to get keyed up now. So at some point we intend to release our fusion token. That's at the second to the bottom line. That's basically because we just want to see that everybody has a piece in the future. We say our philosophy is, why should it just be, Google and Chevron who are putting the $100 million into, Commonwealth and TAE? It can be anybody, right? And we can use Web3 technology to facilitate that. So just more about why we need electricity, why we need baseload electricity. It's the numbers of people without access to electricity has actually increased since for the first time in 2022. So it's appalling. And then we have a little bit of a publishing, mostly for trying to focus on DEIA, so women, people of color who are making headway in sciences. So
yeah, awesome, cool. I suppose just because I do need to run, what do you need help with the most right now, and how does TechStars potentially fit into that, or maybe you need to get back to me on that. I'm not too sure. I'd just like to get a sense.
Frontier Registry for the beta build.
And is a accelerator like TechStars of interest?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've long been aware of TechStars, so it would probably be the ecosystem and the legitimacy.
Okay, cool. Is there anything else you need to kind of find out from me to maybe put in an application for the program?
Well, is there still time to put in an application?
Potentially, I think we just need to, I need to circle with Pete, the MD here. But I would just love to get your, I suppose, concrete intention that you would like to apply, and then basically we should be able to move forward and move the conversation forward.
Yeah, I would love to apply, and then what I'd be looking for would be support in the beta build, support in further fundraising, and support in user acquisition. Right. So as we talk to Harvard and MIT and we say, you guys need to use our protocol, you know, having somebody like TechStars behind us gives it more legitimacy, right? I mean, everybody's after this pot of gold right now because they've seen it. Last year nobody was, but now everyone is.
Yeah, I know for sure. Okay, cool. All right. Well, let me circle back, Paige, and if I can also maybe leave this dashboard with you, it should provide a bit more insight into everything to do with the program. There you go. It's just in the chat.
Okay, great.
Cool. All righty. Well, great to meet you, Paige. Thanks, Emil, for bringing me through. Again, really interested in this space. Personally, this is more my jam in the whole world of crypto, Web3 and all that stuff, because this is the stuff we need to actually build for. So yeah, really curious, really interested. So I'll be in touch ASAP.
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for your time, and thanks for taking this meeting with me. I really, really appreciate it.
No, likewise. Thanks, Paige. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.